Hi friends, Attorney Spinoza here once again with a new video on a question I often get asked by many of my clients, which is, how much is my workers' compensation case worth? Now, this is not legal advice in your particular case. This is just more general information that I can provide to you based on how the insurance company is looking at case value in a general sense. And so what I often tell clients is there are 4 benefits in the California workers' compensation system that the case value come from. And those benefits are medical treatment at no expense to you, temporary disability payments while you're unable to work for up to 2 years, permanent disability benefits, which is a final determination usually made towards the end of the case when you get a medical report that tells you how much disability you have as a consequence of what happened to you, or the injury or the incident. And finally, retraining or rehabilitation, which takes the form of a voucher, which is a training benefit that you get once a doctor tells us whether you can go back to work with or without restrictions. Now, taken in total, these 4 main benefits make up the entire monetary valuation of a workers' compensation case. So think of your case as a pie. You have the entire pie, which reflects the total settlement value of your case. And so within the pie, the different benefits can take up different portions of that pie. Now, depending on what the medical evidence tells the adjuster. So in most cases, if the case has been accepted, usually temporary disability is not an issue towards the end of the case, because usually that's been paid out during the course of the case. So by the time you get to the end of your case, usually that's not a benefit that calculates or forms a part of this final valuation, because it's been paid commensurate with the medical care and medical reports really that you've seen during the course of the case. And so in most cases, what you end up with is a pie that looks like this. This portion reflects the level of permanent disability based on the medical reporting. This has a certain case value to it depending on how high your disability level is. The other, usually, the other main chunk of this pie is out-of-pocket expenses that were owed to you, but were, for whatever reason, were not paid. These are things like parking, or mileage that you incurred going back and forth to doctor visits. That would form a part of this out-of-pocket expense and a part of the overall case value. If it wasn't paid to you during the course of the case, the final case valuation would reflect some amount of money for that benefit. And finally, in most cases, future medical care, which is the medical part of the benefits, and this valuation is usually the largest portion of a case. Not always, again, depends on what the medical reports say, but in most typical orthopedic injury claims, you end up with a little bit of permanent disability, and most of the case valuation comes from future medical care. And so the more medical care is described in the reports that finalize your case, then the more this is worth. So if you get things like recommended injections, recommended surgery, right, or the possibility of surgery, that future medical care is going to be worth more than if you get a report that says you just need medication, not a whole lot of need in terms of medical care, then this would be worth less. So really, again, the benefits and the valuation come from what the doctors have said in your case, okay? So hopefully this gives you a better idea for how insurance companies look at your case valuation. Subscribe to my channel for more informative videos on California workers' compensation, and hope everyone has a nice day. Thank you.